Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, medical science and Christianity equal hate. I'm Matt Barber, Director of Cultural Affairs with Liberty Counsel and Associate Dean with Liberty University School of Law. Joining me again in studio today is Shawn Akers, Dean of the Helms School of Government and Policy Analyst with Liberty Counsel. Well, Shawn, we've talked about it on Faith and Freedom in recent weeks, but the fringe left activist organization, the Southern Poverty Law Center, located in Alabama, has a history of working alongside the party of Abraham Lincoln, Republicans, and the Christian-led civil rights movement, working alongside them to combat racism and bigotry. And they were instrumental post the Civil Rights Act of 1967-64, having been founded in 1971, in taking to task and reporting on and monitoring the activities, oftentimes violent activities, of groups like the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, and skinheads and so forth. Well, in that, these groups, these bona fide hate groups, if you will, have been so marginalized. The SPLC, a George Soros-backed massive fundraising machine, has really lost the ability to rake in the funds that they have over the years. So now they have turned their targets and their attention and have a bead on biblical Christianity and specifically conservative groups like the Family Research Council, like the American Family Association and so forth, having targeted them as, quote, anti-gay hate groups. Well, as I've pointed out in a few articles I've written now, I think that the SPLC has grabbed the tiger by the tail, and now they get the teeth. They are really marginalizing themselves outside of a very liberal echo chamber. The SPLC has really embarrassed itself, and it has really marginalized itself in the mainstream.
You know, it's kind of funny, Matt. This is one of those groups that has in recent times prided itself with being among the most open-minded in the nation. They would be leaders in being open-minded, and they've sacrificed any shred of legitimacy that they could have held claim to in recent times by basically adopting this definition of a hate group. It's if you disagree with the Southern Poverty Law Center, you are a hate group. If you disagree with them on social matters, and chief among those would be sexuality and marriage, if you disagree with them on that, you are going to be listed, especially if you have a voice in the public circles, you're going to be listed as a hate monger and as a hate villain, and in their great hope, a hate criminal at some time in the future if they can get legislation through that they would like. Now, the problem with that for them is one that you've pointed out. It smacks of desperation. It sounds like, and quite frankly, this is one of the things, 501c3s, if they do their job properly to solve a social ill, Matt, the best thing that they could hope for is to run themselves out of business. Those 501c3s that want to feed hungry children, if they feed all the hungry children, the best thing that could happen is you could put yourself out of business. You don't want to continue to stay alive. Bureaucracies in D.C. work exactly the opposite way. Now, what you see here is one that began as a 501c3 that had a great deal of success, and quite frankly, the nation moved in a wonderful direction and did come right alongside the ideas of what started, as you pointed out, ironically, in the Republican Party. Ironically, in most people's minds, it's not if you know the history, but with the Republican Party and the ideas of Abraham Lincoln, we had great success. we had great success in remedying the evil of discrimination.
Yeah.
And you can see that success probably caused a dip in the funds of somebody like Southern Poverty Law Center, and they have sold out and begun acting like a Washington bureaucracy that says we have to have a new windmill to tilt at, and it's going to be everybody that disagrees with us.
Well, and now they
Matt.
find themselves fighting against the very Christian leadership that led the civil rights movement, the very Christians that fought for abolition under the Republican Party under Abraham Lincoln. Now they have those very Christians in the crosshairs. They have Liberty Counsel in the crosshairs. Now, they have yet to label Liberty Counsel as a, quote, hate group. They have given us the lesser ranking of, quote, anti-gay, and they have singled me out specifically, have targeted me. And what's so amusing to me about this is some of the criterion that they're using in order to determine what is or is not hate. For instance, pointing out the reality, the inarguable reality that the homosexual lifestyle is high risk and often leads to serious medical consequences. Also, anybody who challenged, for instance, the hate crimes law that President Barack Obama signed into law, there are a number of what they call myths. And what's amusing to me is, do they not think that we're not going to come and debunk this propagandist nonsense that they're putting forward? Let me share with you some of what the Southern Poverty Law Center said about me, for instance. It said, quote, Barber suggested against all the evidence that there were only a minuscule number of anti-gay hate crimes. This is going back to some things I said in 2007 during the hate crimes legislation debate. I wrote in the Washington Times, and I wrote here in an article, a recent article, let me be clear, I didn't suggest there were a minuscule number of anti-gay hate crimes in 2007. I proved it. And I pointed out that the FBI's own statistics bear out that reality. Out of 1.4 million violent crimes in 2007, there were a mere 247 cases of aggravated assault, reportedly motivated by the victim's sexual orientation or gender identity. And that is essentially 0.017643% of violent crimes in 2007. Is that a minuscule number? You be the judge. They also attacked me for pointing out the negative pitfalls, medical pitfalls associated with homosexuality. The stats are unequivocal. The FDA, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, pointing out, for instance, a recent study with the CDC that 1 out of 5 gay men have HIV/AIDS. Shawn, I've often said if 5 people got into a car and were told that 1 of the 5 were not going to survive, how quickly do you think they'd scatter? The statistics go on and on relative to syphilis, hepatitis, and on and on and on it goes. And this is the CDC, the FBI, based relative to hate crimes, and the FDA making these arguments. So why are they not labeled hate groups, I wonder?
Well, Matt, you're getting exactly at the root of both the Achilles heel and the primary strategy of the Southern Poverty Law Center. It's an old strategy. It's called the ad hominem attack.
Yeah.
It means that if you can't beat somebody on the material that you're discussing, on the logic, on the facts, you call them names. And you'll notice that even the way that they couch their terms, Southern Poverty Law Center doesn't come out and say somebody was wrong. They label them as either a homophobe or as anti-gay or as their favorite is as a hate group. I mean, once you've been stigmatized by being called a hate group, and the other thing that you and I both know that they do is they pull from their old list that holds such true hate groups as the KKK and others, and they put you right next to them. So you're a hate group, and they're a hate group, and they've got you by guilt of the appearance of the manufactured appearance of association.
Yeah.
And it's all an ad hominem attack. Your recent article, SPLC, Medical Science, Christianity Equal Hate, that you've got on One News Now, did such an incredible job of going back and saying, okay, all right, you called me ugly names. Let's look at the facts and see. But that's That's why they called us ugly names. That's why they called you ugly names. That's why half the Christian groups that are listed on there as hate groups and anti-gay, there's no real substance against them. It's just an ad hominem attack because the facts are what they are.
Well, such are the Maoist techniques of the Saul Alinsky left, and they want to take reasoned
That's
debate.
rule number 5.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly. They want to take debate off the table and stigmatize, as you point out, through false guilt by false association. Well, they can try all they want to, but we're not going to let them get away with it, folks. To learn more about Liberty Counsel, learn how you can support our ministry and dive into some of these truths that the Southern Poverty Law Center does not want disseminated, go to lc.org or give us a call at 1-800-671-1776. Join with us as we stand in defense of God's objective truth.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.